First and foremost, a disclaimer: I am not a professional. I just do this as a hobby. So please, if you fact check me, don't hold me too accountable to any misquotes or statements we have. Steve, if you don't mind, I made a few changes to our menu.
Okay.
Not necessary changes, but additions. We didn't speak about making a drink, but I think I'm going to make a drink. It's just way to do it. If we're cooking, we better be drinking. But I want to share what I was actually sipping on today. Let me get the great angle.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I had this a few years ago back in, it's been nearly impossible to find out here. I had it down in Atlanta a few years back at a business function, and I couldn't find it out here, and finally stumbled out on a little mom and pop liquor store, and they had it and didn't know they had it. And I was like, I want that rye. So that is what I'm sipping on to start off with. So what are you doing, Steve? What are you sipping on?
I've got Yellowstone here. Just not a pick or anything like that. Just regular Yellowstone. That's what I am enjoying right now.
Okay.
Nice, easy, smooth drink.
Say it again.
I said, yeah, just a nice, easy, smooth drinker. You know, it's still early.
Oh, I see Old Forester. There we go. So let's get started. Let's go with it. I'm going to make I think what I was going to do today was to do a Whiskey Sour from scratch. And I was going to use Maker's Mark on that Whiskey Sour. And I might as well, while I do this, I have everything in focal point. I'll just kind of show which whiskeys I'll have in which stage of our meals. So I'll do a Whiskey Sour from scratch. I'm going to use Maker's Mark for that one.
Okay.
For an appetizer, go ahead.
I
thought somebody said something. Sorry.
Oh, I said okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
For our appetizer, I have bacon wrapped asparagus and carrots. And for the glaze that I'm making a local one that we have here, Heritage Distillery. They have this bourbon whiskey that is in a vanilla extract barrel. Really good sweet notes on it to help with that glaze. For our main course, the braised short ribs, I came across this. I hadn't seen this before. I hope I'm pronouncing right. Agitators. They have a cab that was in a bourbon barrel, and then they also have a whiskey that was in the wine barrel. So kind of play on those things will be a part of our main course. And then lastly, on our creme brulee, I am going to add a little bit. I'm going to go back to that heritage and add that into the creme brulee, which is going to have a lemon abstract and candied lemon to go along with that. So starting with the Whiskey Sour. What I didn't know about a Whiskey Sour is that you needed egg white. For some reason, I cheated the system and always just got the mixture.
Sour mix?
But
yeah.
Lately, I've been trying to tweak it. Yeah, just the sour mix. And but I saw online, it was like, hey, you needed egg whites. I'm like, well, here we go. Let's try egg white. So getting that egg white separated, and you don't need all of it, but most recipes say about a tablespoon of it. So depending on how much of that thick, smooth, creaminess you want on it, that's what you take. And so in a mixer, some say do a dry shake. I just put an ice cube in the shaker and put most of the white in there and just go to town on that. As I'm doing this, I have to tell you a funny story. As I was practicing this a couple of days ago, my son wanted to help. So he's, Dad, can I help shake it? I'm like, okay. And I only had a couple eggs to make it. It was a practice late at night. And he'd take 2 shakes, and I look around, it's all over the floor. It's like, okay. And he was mortified. He was hurting. I'm like, son, it's okay. I still got 2 more eggs. He said, well, can I do it again? And I said, well, we can't drop it this time now. And he held it to his little body real close, and he's just shaking it. And He ended up going on his name. Now he's a mixer, so every time he sees me shaking, he's, hey, it's my turn to shake. So, but as you're shaking this thing, sorry about the noise, you'll hear it kind of thicken up. You'll hear the actual ice break apart, and it'll start getting like this foamy look into it. You can't look into it, but if you have a clear glass and you're doing the shaker, you'll see it starting to molt. That's going to give that thick separation on the top of it. Now, most people, or at least most recipes, say you separate it. I'm about convenience, and I'm not going to separate this. We're going to put it all in there together. And because I have other issues I'm dealing with, I'm going to double our mixture on here. So it says about 1.5 ounces for it. I'm gonna put that plus a half a shot in there. We're going to add, now this is where a little twist is to it. I have this simple syrup. You can use regular simple syrup. This is a gingered simple syrup. And the only difference in making this and a regular simple syrup, I just take pieces of actual chopped ginger, and when I'm boiling the half and half water and sugar, it actually becomes a part of that simple syrup, and just strain it out and you keep it. So it's going to give a little fresh bite to this. So 3/4 of that. I don't like it very sweet. And we already get the bourbon in there. And the next thing is fresh lemon squeeze juice. Now, personally, if you can get your hand on Meyer lemons, there's a much sweeter palate to it. It actually helps to it, but regular lemons are fine. And that's it. 1.5 ounces, a little more just for good measure. We fill that up and mix her up, which is strangely a very, very simple cocktail. Once you got that in there, give that a good mix. Get your pre-decorated candied lemons, and let's see, get a good picture of that. Now, usually they have you actually put the ice in ahead of time. I rather put it in after the fact, so I know how much, just in case, because I'm over mix what I'm adding into my concoction. So if I put a little more bourbon or a little more sweet and sour, not sweet and sour, but a simple syrup, then I don't over pour that drink. And then these candied lemons, you can just slice up a lemon thinly, dip it in some sugar, put it in the oven at 350, and just let that brown up. And there you have a very basic sweet sour.
Nice.
I'll make sure you pee for that, Steve, we put on there, but that's a quick, and most of the things you have in the house that you can make that. So
yeah, that looks great.
And get that started. It was actually pretty good. I did myself on that one. Okay. I got to pace myself. It's going to be a little while to go. All righty. Let me get gloved up. And next, with the appetizers. Now, this can be done in your oven, on a grill, indirect heat, gas grill. The idea of this is just a simple hand finger food appetizer. I mean, what I like to use is the whole carrot that has the little stems on them. So let me get a better angle on that. Everybody can see that?
Yeah.
So you can get these at most of your grocery stores. I prefer going to a market. I found a few farmers out here that supply us with this stuff. Anytime you can get it directly from the source is going to be better, healthier. And these multicolor ones is a good trick for kids. They get to see different colors to eat the carrots, but these are a lot sweeter. Oh, that's an asparagus. Let's get that out of there. And again, these are really, really easy to make. Like I said, in the oven. You want to do 350, put it in a baking pan. Don't add anything in there except for the seasonings you're going to use. So no moisture, let it actually cook. Like, I don't know if you guys cook bacon in the oven, but if you're not, you need to start. That's the only way to make bacon is in the oven. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the oven at 350, if you do it on a gas grill, just keep it at a medium low or not on a direct heat. If you do it on a smoker, somewhere around 250. And again, you're going for a look, a color on that. But these are pretty simple. Once these are clean, you just, it's better to work with room temperature bacon, because the colder, it's going to be harder to actually get these things to wrap around. And so the idea is just to wrap it around this. And my suggestion at this point, if you can do it the night before and let them set up in the refrigerator, then they kind of tighten up, the meat will tighten up to its, as it cools. And then once you get these going, you just wrap these around. They're very simple to make. And no one will turn down bacon. Simple. This won't turn down bacon. I mean, maybe somebody will, but they shouldn't.
They shouldn't, no.
No. We used to joke that a pig has to dress up like a chicken just to get around our house. But the key to also making sure that these stay together is you make a full wrap around the top. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you just kind of wrap it around there. And if it doesn't go all the way down, then it's okay. That's not the end of the world. Because again, as this heats up, and it'll shrink up and tighten up around it. And the point of having the little stems is also to have little handles. It also looks pretty good in presentation, and we get those going. So you get a few of those. Make sure that there's space between each other. You don't want them crowded or touching. Give them enough space, and you season them. I personally like to use any kind of barbecue rub that you're using or seasoning. Here's one that I've been using lately. We get it in the screen. Cosmos. It's a honey. Kind of like it's more designed for pork, but you can use it on chicken and beef. But I'll also put that in those. Let me get that into a different tray. Now, you don't want to over-season these. You just want to gently give a little light dusting. And depending on where you're cooking it, if it's on the grill, you're going to check back with them every so often and season them during that process. Let me do something without losing you guys. Okay, we can see this. We're going to, everybody's following me, follow me, follow me, follow me. Excuse the backyard, it's a mess. Okay. I got some other little short ribs going on. And we just get those going. Check those right there. Follow me, follow me. Sorry for the mess. Steve, did you see any of that, or did I lose everybody?
No, yeah, I saw you. Yeah, you went out and put the carrots on the grill.
And just like with every amazing cooking show, they just pop out already to go.
Look at those.
I just want to show you this first, and then we'll work on the glaze. But
now that's a vegetable right there. That's a good looking vegetable.
That's and so these were smoked on the grill for about let's see, about an hour and a half. Again, we're trying to go for a color, that little brown color when bacon is done. They tighten up around that carrot. Get a few asparagus, you wrap them around there. Nice little presentation to sit on a plate. You have it there. And what goes well with these is maybe a little bit of ranch dressing. Let me see if I get that there. And or a little barbecue sauce, but these cook up very easily, very well. Sweet. Children love them. Adults love them. There's bacon and carrots all wrapped into one. But let me get you to the glaze and what the glaze looks like, because that's actually the star, and that's what you can use just about on everything. If you want to use this glaze on chicken, you can. If you want to use it on pork, you can. If you want to use it, just eat it out by itself, you can do that. So this is just a regular bourbon glaze, meaning the basis is going to be bourbon. But to get us started on that, we're going to see, get to the pot. Okay, there we go. So I got about 2 tablespoons of butter in there. We're going to get that heated up. And what we're going to do is saute some shallots. And that's about a half of a medium-sized shallot in there. And got nice 2 large, really large tablespoons of garlic. And we're going to add a pinch of dried ginger, which is probably about a teaspoon of that. We'll let the butter catch up to this. Once you get that sizzle going, and it's going to kind of get the aromas out of it. I'm not going to add any herbs or any seasoning to this until this gets coated with the butter. And we'll get to start seeing this. And while that's cooking, let's get our other measurements together for the rest of it to add in. So it says about a 1/3 cup of bourbon on the recipe. I'm a firm believer of measuring that, especially on your first go round, until you actually can figure out how that actually tastes or what your palate likes on that. So we're just gonna put it in a separate bowl. You can't see it. I'm gonna let you watch that for a second. I have the bourbon and soy sauce. Let's see, it's 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. We got brown sugar that we need to put in there. We find brown sugar. But instead of brown sugar, my suggestion is to use cane sugar. Okay. Just turmeric. It's actually going to give a better texture to that glaze than the brown sugar. And it's a little bit, dare I say, a little healthier for you. And this is, all right, that's catching up. Hurry up.
Right. That smells good.
Can you smell that?
I'd like to. We need to work on that. This would be an enhancement to Zoom.
Yeah, that would be a great one right there.
Right.
Let's see. All right, there we go. Soy sauce. We got the soy sauce in there. Now, here is another thing that I added. That says add maple, but we're going to add a bourbon infused maple syrup. Now, most of the stores, we talked about that last time, most of the stores carry these now. This is like the new hot rave. A lot of distilleries actually have them. Out here, Whitfield has a couple infused maple syrups they use. And so it is a great way to enjoy pancakes. or just to add any kind of bourbon infused flavor profile that you need a sweetness to. Hey, Steve, I can't see. Is there any questions or anybody have questions right now?
Yeah, so feel free, as always, to either use chat if you have a question, or you can always take yourself off mute, ask a question too. It's very informal today. And of course, just as a reminder, we will be sending you guys the recipes sometime next week, probably. We'll get these to be. So you don't, I mean, it's great to keep track of stuff as it goes through, but you don't have to worry. We will get you the recipes.
For sure. Now, as that's kind of, you can see that right there, it's kind of getting it. You'll smell when all these aromatics start really opening up. At this point, if you were going to add like parsley or anything to kind of spice it up, this is now the time to do it. What I am going to do here is I have this herbal rub from Spiceology.
Hey, I like that.
Called the Moss with Sasquatch on there. That's my guy right there, old Sasquatch Moss. And it has everything that you could want in there. It's got garlic, sea salt, smoked paprika, red peppers, all those things like that. So I'm going to do a healthy, I'm going to say about 2 tablespoons into that. It might have been a little strong. But I want to kick this up because it's going to be sweet and it's going to be glazed. I'm going to add some chili pepper flakes, about 2 tablespoons of that. Now we can get all those incorporated. It's kind of going to thicken up right there. I don't like the color on that. Then we add the bourbon. Now we're going to start building this glaze. It's going to cool that pan off, but we're going to start getting it to bubble up and actually start to thicken and glaze. And we're going to add a little bit of smoked honey.
Okay.
You can use regular honey, but the smokiness is going to add more flavor to it, especially if you're grilling and if that's going to be the background. But I just like the way, I'm not a honey fan, but I do love the smoked honey.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the last surprise element to this. It's stone ground. If you can use old school mustard.
Okay.
The heavier mustard on that.
Yeah.
That's going to start thickening it up. We'll let that sit for a while. It'll start coming together. You'll see it foam up on the sides over there. That's just that extra sugar in there that's actually just coming together. And you want to turn it down once you start that bubbling. Because now this is going to allow that to process to thicken up. And so we just watch it to make sure that you never want to leave sugar and water on a flame by itself because it will bubble over and cause a mess. And we don't want to scar it or burn it, anything like that. So,
yeah.
All right. So how long do we keep the glaze? Well, you know what? If you can put it in like a mason jar, I'm going to say safely, probably like 2 weeks. You should be able to keep that glaze. If you actually put it and preserve it, and like my suggestion, if you're not going to use it right away and you make enough, while it's hot, put it into a mason jar, seal the lid. As it cools, it vacuums, and it will make a vacuum seal on it, and it'll last way longer, easily a couple months.
Okay.
But this would be good for a marinade or glaze. Like at this point right now, it is not thickened up. You can probably pour that over or pour that over a meat and sit it and vacuum seal it, or have it marinate on something until it thickens up. But this is a great like neutral, spicy glaze. It's not too heavy on the bourbon. It's not too heavy on any of the flavor profiles. It has a lot of different layers of texture in there, but it really, the aromatics is like amazing on this. So while we're doing that, I'll move this over a little bit. Sorry for the jumpiness. We got the pan in here. We're going to start our process on our short ribs. Can you see me? Did I lose it?
Your camera went out. Yeah. I mean, we can still hear you. And the one that you're talking on was working, but the main one's not.
Let's see if did I do something wrong?
It's still connected. So yeah, there you go.
Is it back?
Yeah, it's back. It's back.
All right. We're back. All right. Yeah, I can't see that. Trying to do. Okay, there we go. All right. The most important part about doing the short ribs is having good short ribs.
Nice.
Your butcher will be able to give you these cuts. Sometimes they're much longer, and all of the short ribs are the beef back ribs. They're just trimmed a little bit long. Some call them country style, the back ribs. Sometimes they have a longer bone on it. But if you go to your butcher, they'll have them, depending on how you want to present them, a presentation. You can do 2 bones or 3 bones. But for our situation right now, we're going to do the 2 bones on them. Now, I've taken these out. What I suggest is pull them out and set them in the refrigerator. Let them kind of dry out a little bit. And we're going to season them. Now, season them. Most recipes will tell you salt and pepper, and that's good enough. And you're right, but this is now the time to really get any kind of flavor you're hoping to get out of that meal onto the meat. Although the braising process will help it, but this is really where it gets into your actual meat. And you want to make sure you on the top of this, it doesn't have it on there, but sometimes they'll have the silver skin on it. You want to make sure you get that silver skin off. And that's just, it's difficult. It won't render down. It's just trim it off. So, oh, this is a good one. This kind of looks like it has a little bit on there. It's a fat cap. And it's on the opposite side of the bone. And you're going to just pull it off. You're not going to worry about getting anything off of this backbone, because once we braise it, we're going to debone this. We're going to take this out and only use the meat. You can use the bones for a stock or something that later, but right now we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to trim it off and make sure you got a good, nice, clean top on that. And it just helps on the rendering process. Let me make sure that glazed that. Now, as you're doing any braising or any kind of cooking on your stainless steel, let's go back. There we go. Sorry for the moving. You want to make sure that pan is hot. So never add any oils to it cold. You want to get this hot. And once you do it, if you do it and you get this up to temp and it's hot, this becomes like a non-stick pan.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest you doing it. I have alligator hands now.
You've been doing this long enough.
I've been doing it too long. So while that's doing that, I am going to season up okay, I'm going to move again. Sorry. And another spiceology that I like to use is garlic junkie. This is one, and this is just, and all this is just garlic, salt, and pepper. So you want to make sure you get this and sprinkle it onto it and be generous. We're not worried about it. We don't want to rub it in. You just want to pat it in. You want it to stick into there. Because the extra is going to fall off, and we're going to use it as we put our other vegetable stock in for the braising process. Now, anytime you're cooking a meat, beef, pork, and you're smoking or grilling, or you season it, you want to let it set up. And sometimes they call it meat sweats. But what you're doing is allowing those seasonings to penetrate the actual pores of the meat. So you want to let that sit for a little while, let that adhere to it. It may actually start to liquefy and get a liquid color to it, and that's okay. And all that is actually that sugars that are in there and the moisture is being pulled out, and it's having a happy time. It's happy right there. So once it's getting hot, it's getting hot. We'll move this back over here. I promised the last time I moved. Okay, let's look at the glaze. It's really thickened up now. We'll keep that going for a little while. All right, pan in. All right. So anytime you're doing the temperature on this, you want to make sure you can have a high heat oil, something that's not going to burn easily. Like a vegetable oil is not a good oil. If you're going to do something, I'm going to say I've been successful with coconut oil. And it's going to give off a nice little bit of smoke. And we are going to, I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Yeah.
Put these down bone side up, so the meat side is down. And this is the braising process. So we want these to adhere and kind of stick to it. And the first rule is not to move it. Let it sit there. We want to get a nice crust on this, because this crust is all we're doing is searing in all those juices inside of that meat. And as we bake this, or render this into the actual rest of the medley, it's going to have this beautiful, beautiful this texture. It's going to make it tenderize. But this is going to help season our vegetables. And I'll show you in a second with that. So we're going to let that sit there for a minute. Oh, the garlic, love it. All right. All right, we got a nice little brown color. We'll put it on the side there. And we're looking for that dark crust. A nice little crust to it. It's not going to cook the meat. It's just searing it. Oh, there we go. We got a good one. Don't worry about that. That's good.
Literally just trying to sear a crust on there, huh?
Say it again.
You're just literally trying to sear a crust on there with this.
That's it. Just get a crust on there.
Yep.
We'll let that sit for a few each side. Happy sound right there. The sizzle is a happy sound. All right. At this time, you probably should be preparing our next stage of this. We're going to add vegetables. It's going to be the braising stock of this, which is celery, onions, and carrots. And we're not looking for any perfect uniform size. We're just looking to chop up this medley of goodness. It's also, although there was a lot of garlic in there, we're going to add more garlic to it. And I'll show you now. Sorry. We'll pull this out, set this to the side. Now we got some nice bark on that right there. Now all that this is going to be goodness. At this point we got one more left. And in there, you probably can't see it, but if you do the celery, make sure you add the celery leaves into that.
Yeah, you can see those.
Celery leaves has all the flavor in there. Oh my goodness, so much flavor. It acts as another herb.
Okay.
We're gonna add garlic. Now this is gonna play around there a little bit. And as you see, all of that, these seasonings are now going to be picked up into the medley of actual vegetables. It's glistening. We'll take another hit of that. Whatever seasoning you use to rub on that meat, I would add a little more into the vegetables. And you just keep stirring as it picks up all of that stuff on the bottom of it. In a second, we'll add our other element to get all of the braising out of that. I mean, we're going to deglaze it. We're going to deglaze it with like 2 cups of wine. And this is where I'm using that calf. I might need more wine. We'll keep it at the high temperature, and we're going to let this cook for a little bit. So we're going to burn off some of that the alcohol in there. Because if you leave the alcohol in there, it's going to have a bitter taste to it. I mean, you might like it, enjoy it. I personally don't think for the end game of our glaze, it's going to go on the top. It's going to work with the flavor profiles we have with the sweet potatoes. But let that go a little bit. And now you can see just picking up all those seasonings in the bottom. So all the stuff that fell off that beef is now getting inside of here. Now we'll let this get all happy and lovey-joy. And let's see, she is sitting next to me. Oh, okay. Did I miss any questions?
No, just a little side chat there.
Gotcha. I just make sure I didn't miss anything.
I went on Amazon and bought that Sasquatch moss right now, just on the phone. I had to have it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I did.
Steve, I could have sent you some. I could have just easily put it in the mail for you, man. I got tons of these things.
I didn't know. How am I supposed to know?
Well, a good point. Good point.
Look at me. I mean, clearly, it was modeled after me, so.
There you go. Now we can start advertising for that. There
right,
you go.
exactly.
Now, at this point, depending on how you're going to braise it, my suggestion is to put it in a roasting pan. This is almost similar to like making a roast or anything like that, but I'm going to leave it into this stainless steel pan that I have because I don't have any rubber in there, and it can go directly to the oven straight from this. As this burns off and it cooks off, now we're going to reintroduce our short ribs back into there.
Nice.
We'll do that, and the next step to adding to that is to use a broth. So I'm going to finish this and cover up with this with some beef broth.
Okay.
And then if it doesn't cover up, it's okay to use some water. So I'll add some water to this. And then this goes into the oven. Now this is the next key. Probably important, depending on your time structure on this. You never want to put this directly into a hot oven. Because of the slow nature and the roasting, what you're trying to do here, you want to set it into a cold oven. And if you set it at 200 degrees, it should take about 4 or 5 hours. If you don't have that time, at 350, you should take about half that time to get this to the point out. So we cover this with on the lid. We put it directly into the oven. I'll put the lid on later because remarkably, we already have some done.
All right.
So what's going to happen after that? Let's look at this. Let's turn this. Don't lose that. Sorry about the turn. Mess. All right. We have, oh, this is just falling apart.
Yeah, look at that.
The bones are just coming out of there. What you do is you take it out of that mixture. You separate this meat, and what you do is you strain those carrots, and you're not using the actual carrot anymore. What you're going to use is just the juice, and we're going to make a glaze with that juice and the au jus of it. So we'll go back here. Oh, the nice glaze is going on. Hot lid here. And we remove any straggle.
Well, I think you're on mute, man. Will, can you hear me?
His camera froze.
He's still talking. Hey, Will, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Technology. Hey, Will, we can't hear you. Looks like he's working on it now, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost you for.
We have a slight technical difficulty. So apparently when you put your iPhone close to the stove, it gets too hot. And then it has this temperature alarm that says you can't use it. So.
Okay, that's happened to me in the car before.
All right. Where did you lose me at?
You took the bones out of the meat, and basically after that, then we kind of lost you.
Okay, took the bones out of the meat. Let's see. So you saw me actually pour the au jus, the juice that was rendered off of the stew, right? Did you see that part? Or
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna make a change on the fly. Hold on. All right. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see me? Yes, you can. Okay. All right, so this right here is the juice that was strained from the carrots, the celery, and the onions and garlic that actually braised in. So we're going to reuse it once it's been strained and all the pieces have been removed from it. We're going to let that boil up. And what we're doing is reducing this. We're going to let this kind of reduce down in size. It's going to also become a glaze. But this is what we start to put our meat inside of there, and then we're going to use it and become a part of our sharp braised meal. Now, this is going to be a slow process here because we don't want to rush it. So I'm slowly putting these pieces that fall apart in here. Now, as this is doing this, at this time, this is where you can make your sweet potato, or you can use regular potatoes, mashed potatoes, like a garlic mashed potato, but I've already made the sweet potatoes, and you treat it exactly like you do regular mashed potatoes. So you'll get some yellow or you'll get the orange mashed potatoes and slice them up, put them in boiling water to the fork tender, and add butter. I add also butter, and I put some of the maple bourbon in there to just add to the backdrop of it. All right. Now we'll just let this sit in here. We'll let that cook for a while. And it's just going to thicken up. Am I missing anything, Steve?
No.
I'm down the phone, so I can't see. I just got to point to where I'm going.
Yeah, no, looks good. We're following along.
Any questions?
Nothing outstanding in the chat.
Okay. All right. Alrighty, let's get these back over here. As that's bubbling up, okay, Steve, I'm gonna lift you up.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you see the sweet potatoes?
Oh yes. Yeah.
All right. So it's just a sweet potato mash. I like to leave it with some texture, thickness, and again, you just take just a regular mashed potato you would make. You take the yellow or the orange ones, peel them, boil them. I add about a cup of heavy cream, 1 stick of butter, a little salt, pepper, and then I add some of this bourbon infused syrup just to give an extra sweetness to it. Get that going as that's going. And you still see this. And this is just going to sit in here and just have happy times. All right, and any straggling bones that may be in there, you can pull those out. Save those for, you can use those in making another broth of your own. Use it to seasoning soups, stews, anything. Because it's got a lot of flavor still in there. All right, as this is just coming together, we'll let it stew up. We'll start the presentation. This. Just the heaping of those. Densely and also carefully, because this is just falling apart right now.
Yeah, so tender. Yeah. Looks like we're locked up.
All right. We'll let that keep going with this one.
Well, the camera's off again for a second.
What in the world?
Yeah, there you go. You're back now.
Where did I lose you at again?
No, we could hear you, but yeah. So we saw that. We saw you make the transfer over.
Okay. Man, this is.
That was no big deal. The camera just shut off. But we saw you do that.
Okay. So we'll get some of the thickness of this juice here. Bring it over the top of that.
Wow.
And just for good measures, add a little bit of your Sasquatch.
Hey, I'll be able to do that. It's on the way. It's a prime item. That looks good, man. Jeez, you need to have a restaurant.
There you go, and then this.
That looks fantastic.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Gosh. Wow. Yeah, that's as good as anything you see out there at a restaurant. So
I wouldn't go that far, but
no, you're too humble, man. That looks great.
So on this, we kind of took steps and we went through it a little bit quicker. I still got more stuff to show. You want to let that. You saw the juiciness of jus. The longer you let it sit in that pan, I'm gonna say about 30 minutes, it will become a thick glaze on there and add to it. I'm sorry for making you hungry. I apologize. It's kind of the point, I hope. I guess that's a compliment. We're making you hungry. But the longer you sit with it, it will come a thicker one. Some people don't like that thick texture, have a texture, so that right there is a simple meal. It will sit in the oven, let's say about, if you do it 2 hours at 350, then the glaze, we're talking about a 3-hour process, nice meal, party, and good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna. No questions yet, man. I was hoping for questions.
Questions? Anybody have any questions so far?
Let me move this out of the way. Let's get ready for the crew.
I've got a question for you. I like the hat. Are you merchandising? Do you have like an online store where we can buy hats and stuff?
I have not, Steve.
You need to do that, man.
We need to talk offline about that. I need help with that. I have hats. I have T-shirts. I even have, my own aprons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to do better at that. I've had a few people jump on my head about it.
If
We
you
need to do better.
if you want us to do that for you, if you could get it to Justine, we can put it in our shop for you. And it's what's yours is yours. We don't want to participate in that in any way, but we'd like to help you out because you're a great partner on this stuff. So
I appreciate it. No, any help that I can get, we'll talk offline about that.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yes, no, I do have hats and stuff like that and slow-mo, and we're going from there. We'll talk for sure. Next is let's get this out of the way. Let me move this out of the way. We'll get the creme brulee going, and that is a recent newfound love. April's fire. Appreciate it. I'll make sure you got one. I'll get some in stock then. I wasn't a fan of creme brulees. I didn't like the texture of it, but went somewhere
I love it.
and
Yeah.
had it at a
It's my
restaurant.
favorite. Yeah.
It blew my mind. It was amazing. So I was, a couple friends of mine, we cooked together on Instagram and on my personal site, and we had a French night one night. And we made duck confit, we made some other stuff like that. But my job was to make creme brulee, and so I practiced on it. And after that, it was like, this is like a love. And I love it. So everywhere I go, I got to try it to see what everybody does. Let me get some stuff to start it. Let me go dish this up to the family real quick. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The family who has to put up with us all, taking over their kitchen and all that stuff. At least they get to eat out of it. That's a good trade-off, I'd have to say. So it's not bad. I wouldn't mind that deal at this house.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Get the stuff separated. So one thing I like about each one of these recipes that we've done, they've been simple ingredients, stuff that you can find at any one of your grocery stores. Me personally, I love to go to the market. I do miss the market down in downtown, but we do have a huge market out here in Pike. But lately, it's been really difficult to get down there because of the 2020 COVID. But
yeah,
now we have a lot of farmers.
Yeah.
What was that again?
I was just saying COVID. It's messed up everything, right? I mean, yeah,
it's just. But what it has done is opened up a direct means to our farmers out here, and I have 2 amazing farmers that I use that I even get my beef from. I don't know if they're on here now, but Clearwater is out in Arlington. It's about a good hour drive, but it is well worth it because the farmer. I know Julie. I know their kids, and you see the meat, you see the garden, you see the farm. It makes it that look better. So
yeah,
there's a connect.
Yeah.
So if I need something, I was like, I need some onions. Hey, Will, we're saving these huge Walla Wallas for you. Like, what do you got going on? I need this, I need that. The carrots that I got, I suggest anybody, if you can, find a farmer, be their friend. They'll be friends with you. So that's a way to go nowadays. So with the creme brulee, it's pretty much cream, eggs, sugar, and vanilla. But we're going to add bourbon to it.
Okay.
To make it simple, let me turn it over to this. Let's get over that. Can't we see the pan? All right, there we go. So to make it simple, get some heavy cream, just a whole quart of it. Just pour it on in. Don't even think about it. Don't measure it out. Don't worry about it. This is going to allow you to make 4 or maybe 5 little cylinders of the creme brulee. So it's just get that in there. What I like to add a twist to this, and you can try this, is using a bourbon creamer. So I'm trying to think of some. I'm losing it, but anyway, I can't think of other ones. But this is
Buffalo Trace does a bourbon cream, and
yeah. And I would put in like a half a cup of this.
Okay.
This is a dessert, so measuring is optional. And then from that, I'm going to add a little more. Oh man, I'm out of there. Okay, switch. We're going to add a little makers. And just about 2 tablespoons of this. And 2 tablespoons of vanilla. And it's gonna have this really, really lovely, amazing vanilla smell. Now, we're just heating this up. We're not trying to scorch it or burn it. We're just getting all the elements, everything to have a happy marriage in there. In a different bowl, though, we're gonna mix up 6 eggs. All right, can you see that, Steve?
Yep.
All right. Now, we need 6 eggs, just the yolks. So we do not want to add in the whites because this is what's going to make the custard. So in actuality, we're building a little custard and we're going to bake that custard.
Okay.
So to share you guys the drama of de-yolking these.
Okay, no big.
Uh-oh.
No big.
And we're going to add a little sugar to that, about 2 cups of sugar. And then we'll mix it up. Any questions yet, Steve?
No. Rick Brenner suggested also what might work is the Neely Bourbon Ball Cream, which would probably be.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, that would work out good in this, I'm sure.
Please excuse the mess. It is a kitchen. All right, we'll just use the 5 right there.
Okay.
But most recipes calls for 6. But I shortened it. So we're going to use about 1 cup of sugar. And remember I told you about leaving sweet stuff? It boiled over. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see what you see.
Yep. Yeah, we see both the bowl and the pot.
Okay.
They're both on camera.
All right. So we're going to get this little custard. And then you slowly, because we don't want to cook the eggs, we slowly add this in. Oh, the bourbon smell is so good.
I think everything you were making today probably smelled good.
It is really messing with me right now.
Yeah.
So we'll get those in there and get this all. And then this is going to go into the little holders. Those go into the oven, and I'll show you how to put those in there. That's going to go into the oven, and you have to position those just right. We've almost filled them to the top. And this is another one that you don't want to necessarily put into a hot oven. You want to put it into a cold oven and get it up to 325 degrees. We're going to fill this pot up with water.
Okay.
Cold water to about 3/4 of the way and bake that.
Okay, cool.
And once you put that in the oven and bake that at 3/4 of the way, sorry, back now, you get these lovely little doohickeys. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're there.
And then you sprinkle with a little sugar on top. This is the fun part right here.
Yeah. Fire's getting ready to be introduced, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you just shake it around there and get it nice. So, Steve, have you ever made any of these before?
No, I have not. I would like to because I love it. And the store-bought ones are never any good. The only good creme brulees I've ever got has always been at a restaurant, for dessert. I've never bought anything that says it's creme brulee at the store and found it to be good at all. So I need to figure out how to make it at home. Well,
it's an easy one. And then you just kind of slowly, and you'll start seeing it kind of crystallize and crystallize. And there will be some smoke. Pull it back a little bit.
it's a pretty professional torch you got there.
Oh,
well, I do have one, but it's much smaller. Yeah.
I was looking for the smaller one, but in my profession, I got torches everywhere.
True. For those who don't know, Will's a plumber. So it's not, like I said, he doesn't own a restaurant. You would think he does watching this. But. And Will is from St. Louis, too. This is why I love that guy. He's a St. Louis guy. Doesn't live there now. He's Pacific Northwest, is out in Seattle, but he's a St. Louis guy. And if you'd come back to St. Louis, we could do the show either from your house or my house. We could rotate it every month.
We can do it from yours for sure.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And let that sit up a little bit and come back and
that looks great, man. I love creme brulee. It's nothing like breaking through that. It gets a little bit of a shell, because that the crust it gets, and break through that and eat those. Oh, delicious.
Oh, God, yes. All righty. So once those cool off, be careful. Again, I got alligator hands. We'll take that out of the way. You can let that sit there. Let this sit there. And
that's what you want.
Yep. I don't know if you can hear it, but.
Yep. Yeah. Love it.
It's candy. That hasn't set up yet, but.
Oh, yeah. Dang. Oh, that looks so good, man. Love it.
There you go.
Fantastic, man.
That was the creme brulee. Bourbon creme brulee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. All righty. Any questions? That is hot. that was hot. Oh, man. Steve, this was awesome. I was hoping I had more questions to see.
Right.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Who else I see? Neil and Marlene, Mr. Bill. Pat, how you doing, sir? Robert A is not there, but hello, Robert A. And I see Merlin. Hello. Did I pronounce that right? Correctly. Alrighty. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions about any of these things we prepared today, or cooking in general? Barbecuing, obviously, specialty for Will.
Yeah, when I showed my wife what we're doing today, because I've been gone for about 2 months. Her first thing was, when are you going to get your ass home to cook this for me?
Somebody asked about the glaze.
Yeah.
What happened to it? I missed it. What was the question?
She was just asking what the glaze was for, the carrots. Yeah, you showed, you brushed it.
Yeah,
over.
it was for the carrots.
Yeah.
And I'll show a picture of that.
Yeah, he did it first, then he went back and showed you how to prepare it. So it was kind of out of order, but again, he's showing you how to do it. So, yep, that's what he used it for.
I used it for these.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So, Will, what is your favorite meal to prepare?
Honestly, just a good steak.
Can't go wrong with that.
If I had a choice, it just a nice ribeye and asparagus or a potato and tons of horseradish. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just in a good bourbon. Just sit there.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I legitimately could just eat a steak and drink bourbon, and I'll be okay.
Those pair exceedingly well together, so nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Hey, Will, this is Chris and Robert.
Hey.
Well, it's Robert, and then I'm here with them. One, what's your Instagram or Facebook so we can follow you?
Okay.
One for Apron, so we need to make.
Okay. It's Slow Mo Q. So it's SL_MO.
SLO, oh, isn't it SLO? Slow?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just said SL, I think.
Okay. Okay.
So SLO_MO QUE.
Okay.
Correct.
SLO Q.
And then what was the total time for the short ribs? It's something I've always wanted to try, but I've always been afraid to try it. So what was the total time? I know you said it takes a while. So
well, realistically, if you do it at you bake it at the 350, it'll take about 2 hours. And then once you pull that and render down the actual juices from out of there and make a glaze or stock out of that, probably another half hour,
another
45
half an hour?
minutes. Yeah, it won't take long.
What was on your grill when you put your carrots out?
Oh, let's go see.
I thought it was the ribs that were done and you were grilling them. So
Actually, in the process, let's see.
He's always got something on the grill. So
Yeah.
yeah.
even his neighbors benefit from this. So he'd be a great guy to have for a neighbor. He cooks so much that his neighbors get fed.
Yeah, I had some extra short ribs and a piece of meat. I don't know if you can see that. But.
We can see it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. Kebab, get it in.
Okay, yeah, we need you in Maryland.
That was just some extra stuff I had going on. I was usually when I cook, I'm cooking not for myself. I'm just cooking for people, whatever. Somebody asked me to put some on the grill. I did it. They give me meat. I'll cook it for them and drop it off.
I'm telling you, man, you need to move back here to St. Louis. And we need to be neighbors because this is a fantastic deal these people got. I hope they realize it.
They
drop
just
off meat and you
food.
cook it for them? Yeah.
I cook it for them and I just take it back to them. And they're like, okay.
That's fantastic.
All right.
It's a benefit for me because who I'm making some of this meat for is for the farmers. Mm-hmm. So they give me a lot of vegetables and stuff. And so whenever she's got extra meat, she's hey, I'll cook it for you and I'll bring it back out to you. So
yeah,
That's cool. So for the carrots, if you do not wrap them in bacon, he wants the bacon. I'm a vegetarian. So if you don't wrap them in bacon, how long would you grill them for?
I would. So that's a good one. And I thought about doing that too because I knew that's something that I'm dabbling in, trying to be a vegetarian part way, like a couple days out of the week. And I smell bacon. I would grill those probably about a half hour.
Okay.
Depending on what kind of chew you want. Meaning, if you still want that crunch, which attracts us to vegetables, that crunch, I would probably go half hour.
Okay.
And it would actually have it would have the texture like, okay, there's some heartiness to it. But if you were trying to get it softer, and I would just add time to it, maybe like another 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So maybe 40, 45 minutes.
Okay. And my husband said he's going to make the creme brulee for me, right?
Ooh.
You gonna do that for me, Robert?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, at some point. He said he's going to make the creme brulee. So we'll definitely take pictures and send it to you.
And Chris, this is
Okay,
recorded.
sounds
If
like a plan.
it's recorded. If he denies it, just play it back for him that he just said.
I forgot about that.
You're
Thank
busted,
you.
Robert. Yes, thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Will, Marilyn had another question about the carrots and the glaze. That was all put on after. You didn't put on any of that beforehand, did you?
No. So
Yeah.
after they were done and rendered to where I wanted it or roasted, then I brushed it on. So if it was going to be, so for instance, I kept these on there probably like an hour. Right at the hour mark, I brushed it on and let it stay on so it could tack up and get some texture to it.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. What else does anybody want to know? Well, Will, this was great, my friend. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
good. I want to keep the momentum. Hopefully you had a good time too, because we want to keep doing this, man.
I loved it. Like as each one of these things happen, I see more things that I could improve on and getting situation and lighting and prepared. And
you're overly critical. You do a great job. This was well put together for a one-man show. I'm telling you, man, it's unbelievable. So you do a great job of making sure that the angles are right and all that. It's good. It's very, very good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I said this before on the last one you had. I was in the restaurant business for over half my life as a manager. I've had to sit through a lot of food demonstrations and a lot of training videos, and yours are very entertaining and very well done, very well thought out. Good job. Thank
you very much. I appreciate that. That makes my day right there. This honestly is why I do it. I don't do it for me eating. It's the enjoyment of seeing other people have pleasure. It's half the time I don't eat. It's like, but I see you and somebody else smiling, it makes me smile. So yeah. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever tried pork barrel seasonings?
Pork barrel.
No,
I don't think so.
Well, after the last show, I told you that I had experimented with some smoked pralines, and I was going to send you some.
Yes.
Well, it worked as long as you were going to eat them then.
Oh, gotcha.
The day that you couldn't tell it was there.
You're right.
I was going to send you some of this pork barrel rub, and the place I get it from was out of it. And then by the time I got some, I was sent out of town. I've been out of town since I got some, so I haven't forgotten about them. So
no worries, my friend. No worries.
Louis, I'll put something together and I'll send it to you.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It's an all-purpose rub that was developed by two congressional staffers.
Okay, nice.
Up in Washington that like to barbecue.
I want to try this.
The name pork barrel comes from pork barrel spending.
Yeah. Is that place by the brewery? Is that the St. Louis thing, Rick?
No. Someplace else. But yeah.
Okay.
But it's something I use on everything. You can use it on anything.
Cool.
I want to try it. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed this though.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, it was a lot of fun, my friend. And as always, really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll talk offline. And yeah, if we want to get set up in our store, if that would help you out, distribution and a place to sell the stuff, we can do that for you.
Well, thank you very much. I'll make sure that we'll talk for sure.
Thank you very much, Will.
Sounds
We
good.
appreciate it.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Good
Enjoy the
you.
rest of your weekend, everybody.
All right. Do the same.
Bye.